No, Iris said, her voice steely. That's a war we can't win. This is a business problem. We solve it with business. My daughter thought she was saving me from loneliness by shoving me into a room full of strangers. She had no idea she was giving me the perfect cover to run a small, illegal empire. This is the story of how I went from a bored widow to the quiet, ruthless boss of the Sunnyside Terrace Retirement Village bookmaking ring. Before we begin, drop a comment below with your country and what time it is right now where you're watching. Whether it's sunrise in Nairobi, midnight in Australia, afternoon in Canada, or evening in France, I want to know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't just sit back. Tell me where in the world you are. Now, let's dive into the story. The humiliation began on a Tuesday. My daughter, Chloe, stood in my kitchen on Hickory Drive. She was holding a bright, glossy brochure. It was the kind of bright that hurts your eyes. The brochure had smiling old people holding paintbrushes and playing cards. The title screamed, Sunnyside Terrace Senior Social Club, Find Your New Tribe. "Mom," she said. Her voice had that tone, the one she uses when she's talking to her 5-year-old. "I worry about you in this big house, all alone. You need engagement." I looked from the brochure to her face. My own daughter, my only child. She saw me as a problem to be solved, a checklist item. Keep mom busy so I don't have to feel guilty. That's what this was. It wasn't about me. It was about her. My heart, my old heart, squeezed tight. It felt like a betrayal. After Frank died, the world got quiet. Too quiet. But I liked my quiet. I had my books. I had my garden. I didn't need a tribe of strangers playing bingo. But Chloe was persistent. She used words like isolation and cognitive decline. She said it was just one afternoon a week. "For me, Mom," she said, "so I don't worry." That was the hook, the guilt hook. She knew I'd do it for her. Therefore, that next Thursday, I put on my least comfortable slacks. I drove my sensible sedan to the Sunnyside Terrace Community Hall. The room smelled like lavender air freshener and faint regret. There were about 20 of us, women mostly, a few brave men staring at the floor. We were forced to wear "Hello, my name is" stickers. I saw names like Bernice and Shirley and Doris. They all looked politely bored. The activities director, a young man named Kyle with too much energy, tried to get us to play Get to Know You Bingo. I wanted to melt into the linoleum. I felt a hot, sharp anger at Chloe. This was my life now? Marking off squares that said, "Has been to Niagara Falls?" But then something shifted. I made eye contact with a woman across the room. Her name sticker said Iris. She was rolling her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. She caught my look. She gave a tiny, almost invisible shrug. A shared moment of understanding. We were prisoners of war. Our children were the wardens. In that moment, I didn't know it. That look, that was the beginning of everything. That was the first thread of the web we would weave. The social club was every Thursday. Bingo Bonanza was the headline event. Kyle would crank a rusty wire cage. Little numbered balls would clatter around. He'd call out, "B4!" People would groan or dab their cards with those soggy, smelly markers. It was agony. Slow, droning agony. But I kept going because Chloe would call every Friday morning. "How was club, Mom?" And I'd lie. "It was lovely, dear, very stimulating." I could hear the relief in her sigh. That sigh kept me going back. I started talking to Iris. She was a retired accountant, sharp. She had a way of looking at the room like she was assessing its value, and she was bored out of her mind. One Thursday, during a particularly brutal round, she leaned over. Her voice was low, a dry whisper. "You know, Agatha," she said, "the odds in this game are an absolute disgrace. The house edge is criminal. If this was a real casino, there'd be a riot." I smiled, a real smile. "The only thing getting robbed here is our time, Iris." She nodded. Then she said the thing that changed it all. "My nephew, Jeremy, he's a sports junkie. He's always moaning about his online fantasy league, how he can't find a good local bookie anymore. Says it's all corporate apps now, no personality." I looked at her. I looked at the bingo cage. I looked at the room full of people who the world thought were just marking time until the end. A crazy, delicious thought popped into my head. It was so clear, so simple. "We have the perfect cover," I whispered back. Iris's eyes widened, just for a second. Then they narrowed, calculating. "We have a built-in customer base. My nephew Jeremy has friends. They have money. They want to bet on football, basketball, not this." She gestured with her dabber at the bingo card. "We have the venue," I said, my heart pounding a new exciting rhythm. "We have the alibi. We're just a bunch of old ladies playing bingo. Who would ever look twice?" Iris leaned back. She dabbed a number on her card. "B12, she said, not to me, but to the universe. We'd need a system, a secure system, and more operational partners." That's how it started. Not with a bang, with a whisper during B12. We were no longer just inmates. We were architects, planning our escape and our new business. We couldn't do it alone. We needed a team, but you have to be careful. You can't just walk up to someone at the craft table and ask, "Hey, want to commit felonies with me?" Iris and I became scouts. We watched people. We listened. We identified prospects. Our first recruit was Beatrice. Beatrice was a tiny woman, always knitting. She looked like a strong breeze would knock her over, but I noticed her knitting. It wasn't just scarves. It was complex. Cables, intricate patterns. She was following a code, a language of knots and loops. One day I complimented her work. "That's a beautiful Aran cable, Beatrice. It's like mathematics with yarn." She looked up, her eyes bright behind thick glasses. "It's just logic, dear, a pattern. You follow the rules, you get the result." Bingo. That was what we needed, a logical mind. We tested the waters. Over terrible coffee, Iris mentioned vaguely a little side project. She talked about beating the system. Beatrice listened. She didn't say much. She just kept knitting. Then she said, "I was a systems analyst for 38 years. I specialized in cybersecurity and discrete financial transfers." I almost spit out my coffee. This little woman, this knitter, she was a retired cyber genius. We had our tech department. Our next get was Dolores. Dolores was a force of nature, a broad-shouldered former school cafeteria manager from the Bronx. She had a voice that could cut through steel and an organizational mind that could run D-Day. She also had a grandson, Leo, who was troubled but sweet. Leo, it turned out, was a bike messenger, a fast, reliable, and most importantly, untraceable courier. We pitched it to them carefully, not as a crime, as a game, a very profitable game, a way to use minds that were being left to rust, a way to have fun, and to stick it to the world that thought we were done. Beatrice adjusted her glasses. I can set up encrypted communication, untraceable payment ledgers. Dolores crossed her arms. I can manage the runners. Handle the personal side of collections if needed. She cracked her knuckles. It was a wonderful, terrifying sound. Our little social club had its board of directors. We were in business. Our first operation was for an NFL Sunday. Beatrice set up the system. She used an old, locked knitting pattern form online. To anyone else, it was a discussion about wool tension. To us, it was our ledger. A post about merino wool meant a bet on the home team. Alpaca blend was the away team. The numbers in the pattern indicated the point spread and the amount. Dolores's grandson Leo was our runner. He'd collect cash from the bettors, starting with Iris's nephew Jeremy and his friends. He dropped the cash to Dolores at the bingo hall. To the outside world, Leo was just a good grandson visiting his grandma. My living room on Hickory Drive became the nerve center. Beatrice worked on a cheap laptop. Iris crunched the numbers, setting the lines based on sports radio and her own sharp math. I was the bank. The money sat in a locked floral tin that used to hold shortbread cookies. That first Sunday, I was terrified. What were we doing? We were old women. We were supposed to be making ceramic ashtrays. My hand shook. But then the game started, and the reports came in. Jeremy had bet $50 on the Packers. His friend Mike bet $100 on the Bears. The money was real. The tension was real. It wasn't B12. It was a fourth-quarter touchdown drive. When the Packers won, covering the spread, we had to pay Jeremy. We took his $50 and Mike's $100, so we had $150 in the tin. We owed Jeremy $95. We kept the rest. $55 profit for one game. Iris looked at the cash, then at me. A fierce, proud grin spread across her face. "The house always wins, Agatha," she said. "And now we're the house." It worked. Our crazy plan worked. We made money. We felt alive, truly alive, for the first time in years. But success brings its own problems, because now we had something to lose. Business grew. Word spread from Jeremy to his friends, to their friends. We were the grandma bookie. Reliable, discreet. We had a good thing, but more money meant more risk and more attention. The first problem was internal. Shirley, sweet, chatty Shirley from the social club. She wasn't part of our crew, but she was always there. She started noticing things. "Agatha," she chirped one Thursday, "you and Iris and the girls always sit in the back corner now, and you're always whispering. It's like you have your own little club within the club." She laughed. Created a decoy. We started a prayer and knitting circle. We'd sit in our corner with Beatrice's knitting, and we'd look very serious. We'd say we were praying for the world, for our grandchildren. Shirley bought it completely. "Oh, that's so beautiful," she said. "I'll leave you to it." Our criminal enterprise was now protected by the holy shield of a fake prayer group. The irony was not lost on us. But the external pressure was worse. One of Jeremy's friends, a loud kid named Brandon, lost a big bet. He didn't want to pay up. He thought he could shrug off some old ladies. Dolores handled it. She didn't go to Brandon. She went to his grandmother, Ethel, who played canasta at Sunnyside on Wednesdays. Dolores just mentioned loudly in the card room what a shame it was when young men didn't honor their debts, how it reflected on their family. By that evening, Brandon's father had made him deliver the cash with interest to Leo. We never had the collection problem again. Our network was deeper than anyone knew. We were embedded in the community. We were protected by the very thing that made us invisible, our age. The biggest threat was the one I lived with, or rather the one who checked on me, Chloe. Our success changed me. I had purpose. I had secrets. I had cash. I started buying nicer things. Nothing crazy. A new premium coffee maker, a very good bottle of bourbon for cooking, I said. I got my hair done at a better salon. Chloe noticed. Mom, you seem different, happier. Is it the social club? She asked, hope in her voice. Yes, dear, I said, truthfully for once. The ladies are wonderful. We've become very close. That was true, too. But mothers and daughters have a radar. One Friday, she came over unannounced. I was in the middle of reconciling the week's bets with Iris. The floral tin was open on the table, stacks of cash next to my teacup. The key turned in the lock. Panic shot through me. I slammed the tin shut. I shoved it under a couch cushion. Iris calmly opened a Better Homes and Gardens magazine. Mom, I brought you soup, Chloe called out. My heart was hammering. In the living room, sweetheart. She came in. She saw me, flushed. She saw Iris, serene. She saw the two teacups. Oh, hi, Iris. I didn't know you were visiting. Iris is helping me with a charitable donation. For the church, I blurted out. Chloe's eyes flickered. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. That's nice. She put the soup in the fridge. She was too quiet.
She was looking around, seeing her childhood home with new, suspicious eyes. She kissed my cheek before she left. You're sure you're okay, Mom? You have everything you need? I have everything I need and more, Chloe, I said. And that was the truest thing I'd ever said to her. But I saw it, the doubt in her face, the detective in her awakened. My own daughter was now a potential threat to my operation. The guilt was gone, replaced by a new, cold fear. A week later, disaster almost struck. A new member joined the social club. His name was Carl. He was in his late 60s, too new in town, and he asked all the wrong questions. He didn't care about bingo. He kept asking about the action. He sidled up to me during cookie break. Heard this is the place to be on Sundays, he muttered, winking. Heard the odds are better than Vegas. My blood went cold. This was it. This was a cop or a regulator or a rival. He'd found us. I played dumb. Oh, the bingo odds are terrible, Carl, but the company is nice. He just smiled a thin smile. We went into crisis mode. Our prayer and knitting circle that day was a war council. We decided to shut down immediately. No new bets. We'd settle existing ones and disappear. For 2 weeks, we were ghosts. We were scared. Our beautiful, thrilling game was over. The fear was worse than the boredom had ever been. We watched Carl. He seemed lost without us asking questions. He stopped coming to the club. Then Dolores did some digging. Through her network of grandmas, she found out Carl's story. He wasn't a cop. He was a lonely man from Atlantic City, a retired blackjack dealer. He'd heard a rumor from a friend of Jeremy's. He just wanted in on the action. He was looking for his own tribe. We'd panicked. We'd almost torched our own business over a false alarm. It was a wake-up call. We needed better security. We needed to be smarter. We couldn't just react. We had to be in control. Therefore, we created a vetting process. No new clients without a personal referral from an existing one. And they had to be approved by a unanimous vote of the board. We were no longer just a ring. We were a corporation with bylaws. And Carl? We vetted him. He's now one of our best clients. He handles our Las Vegas odds making. We had a new problem. A good problem. We had too much cash. The floral tin was overflowing.
We had stacks of bills in my freezer, in Beatrice's yarn baskets, in Dolores's flour canister. We were drowning in money. We couldn't deposit it. Big, regular cash deposits would raise flags at the bank. We were making money illegally, but we weren't criminals. We didn't have a way to clean it. The answer came from the most unlikely place, the Sunnyside Terrace laundry room. Iris and I were doing our towels. She was muttering about the cost of the extra rent cycle. "Everything is a transaction, Agatha," she said, "even clean towels." I watched the quarters tumble into the machine. I watched the soap suds swirl. And then I saw it. The perfect, boring, beautiful solution. "Small businesses, Iris," I said slowly. "Cash-heavy small businesses." She stopped. She understood instantly. "A laundromat, or a car wash, or a—" She grinned, "a chain of self-serve dog washes." We didn't buy a business. We invested in one. Through a complicated web of Beatrice's making, we became silent partners in Suds and Puffs, a combined laundromat and espresso bar downtown. It was trendy. It was always busy. It took in piles of cash every day. Our bookmaking cash would get mixed in with the laundry and latte money. It would be deposited, clean and legal, into the business account. Then, as profit distributions, it would find its way back to us. We were laundering money through literal laundry. Our operation was now fully professional. We had income, a cover, and a growth strategy. We were unstoppable. But pride, as they say, comes before a fall. Chloe's suspicions hadn't gone away. She started visiting more, calling more. She was looking for cracks. I had to be perfect. I had to be the happy, busy, harmless mom. Then she announced she was sending her husband, my son-in-law, Mark, over to help me organize my taxes. Mark was a sweet man, a mid-level manager, and he was nosy. This was an audit, a personal family audit. The day he came, I had to be clean. I hid every trace. The ledger notebooks were encoded and stored on Beatrice's cloud. The cash was at Suds and Puffs. My house was just a house. Mark poked around my office. He looked at my bank statements, the legitimate ones that showed my pension and small Social Security deposits. "Everything looks great, Agatha," he said. But he was seeming disappointed. He wanted to find a problem to solve. Then he saw it. On my calendar, written in my neat script for next Thursday, SC, 3 p.m., P&K Circle, big game. He pointed. "Is big game like some special bingo?" My mouth went dry. "Oh, no, dear," I laughed a little too high. "It's just our prayer and knitting circle. We're praying for the big game of life, you know." He nodded slowly. He didn't believe me. I could see it. He thought I was getting senile, that I was confused, but he also thought it was harmless, a cute old lady thing. He reported back to Chloe. I heard her on the phone later. "She's fine, honey. A little eccentric with her prayer group, but fine. Her finances are in order. Let it go." I had dodged a bullet by being underestimated. They thought my big game was a symptom of decline, not the sign of a thriving secret second life. It was the perfect disguise. But it also hurt. The person they saw wasn't me anymore. They saw a fragile shell. They didn't see the boss inside. Success again brought a new kind of trouble, a real kind. A man came to Suds and Puffs. He was well-dressed, polite. He asked for the owner. The manager pointed him to our young front-facing partner. The man made an offer. He wanted to buy Suds and Puffs, a cash offer, well above market value. Our partner, following our rules, said it wasn't for sale. The man came back. Again, he wasn't rude, but he was persistent. He said his associates really liked the location. He said it would be a shame if anything happened to such a nice, busy place. This was it, the real underworld. We'd been playing a game. These were the professionals, and they'd found our laundry. They might not have known about the bookmaking, but they smelled cash flow. Panic set in, real cold fear. We were in over our heads. We couldn't go to the police. We were criminals ourselves. We called an emergency prayer circle. Dolores was furious. She said, "I'll have Leo and his friends pay this guy a visit," she growled. "No," Iris said, her voice steely. "That's a war we can't win. This is a business problem. We solve it with business." We thought. We plotted. We couldn't sell. It was our financial heart. We couldn't fight. We were grandmothers. Then I had an idea. It was a crazy idea, but it was the only one we had. I said, "We don't sell the business. We sell a share of the business to someone they wouldn't dare mess with." "Who?" Beatrice asked. I smiled. "We need a new silent partner with a particular set of skills." We recruited our new partner the next day at the social club. We went to Carl, the retired blackjack dealer from Atlantic City. We laid it out for him. Not everything, just enough. We told him we had a small business and some unpleasant people were trying to pressure us. We asked if he knew anyone connected from his old life. Carl didn't even blink. He just nodded. "I might know a guy. He's retired now, lives in Phoenix, but he's got a long memory and a longer reach. He doesn't like bullies." A week later, the well-dressed man returned to Suds and Puffs. Our partner was ready. He handed the man a phone. The owner would like a word. The man took the phone, smug. He listened. His face went pale. He said, "Yes, sir. Of course, sir. I apologize, sir. We had no idea." He hung up. He handed the phone back. He left and never returned. We never asked Carl what was said. We never asked who the guy in Phoenix was. Some doors, once opened, are best left closed. We paid Carl a generous finder's fee. He became a closer friend. We had faced the dragon and won, not with fists, but with a phone call. Our operation had just leveled up. We had protection. We were no longer just clever. We were untouchable. But the victory felt hollow. It scared me. We were dancing with real darkness now. The fun was starting to fade, replaced by the grim reality of what we'd built. We had wanted excitement. We got it. And it was heavier than we expected. The stress took its toll. Not on me, on Iris. She was the brains, the pressure of the numbers, the constant vigilance. It got to her. One Thursday during a particularly tense prayer circle, we were settling a massive March Madness bracket. Iris went quiet. Her face went gray. She put a hand to her chest. "Agatha, I don't feel right." It was a mild heart attack. Thank God it was mild, but it was a shockwave through our whole world. We rode in the ambulance with her. We held her hand. We weren't criminals in that moment. We were just friends, terrified for our friend. Sitting in that sterile hospital waiting room, the fluorescent lights humming, it all crashed down on me. What were we doing? We were in our 70s and 80s. We were running a stressful, illegal enterprise that had just given my best friend a heart attack. For what? For money? We had enough. For excitement? This wasn't excitement. This was fear. This was watching your friend's heart monitor beep.
Chloe rushed to the hospital. She saw me there, holding hands with Dolores and Beatrice, our faces streaked with tears.
She saw genuine terror and love. She didn't see a secretive bookie. She saw a scared old woman with her friends. "Oh, Mom," she said, wrapping me in a hug. "I'm so sorry. Is Iris going to be okay?" In that hug, in that moment of real human crisis, the two halves of my life collided, the grandma and the boss. And the grandma won. I sobbed into my daughter's shoulder. I was so tired of the secrets. Iris recovered. She had to. She's too stubborn not to. But she was done. "I'm retiring from retirement," she said from her hospital bed, a weak smile on her face. "The only numbers I want to crunch are in my crossword puzzle." We all felt the same. The heart attack was our wake-up call. The game was over. We'd won. Now it was time to cash out. We held one final, real prayer and knitting circle. Not in the social club, but in my living room on Hickory Drive. We had the floral tin, now just a symbol. Beatrice brought her laptop. Dolores brought her ledger. We dissolved the operation. We settled all outstanding bets. We paid Leo a huge bonus. We gave a generous severance to our guy in Phoenix. We closed our encrypted forums. Then we divided the remaining money. It was a lot of money, more than any of us had ever seen in our lives. We weren't rich, but we were secure, forever. We sold our share of Suds and Puffs back to our partner for a tidy sum. Our money was clean, legal, and in the bank. The next Thursday, we went back to the Sunnyside Terrace Senior Social Club. We played bingo. We used the smelly dabbers. We listened to Kyle's too loud voice. And it was fine. It was peaceful. We didn't need the thrill anymore. We had our own thrill. It was a secret we shared, a story. Chloe calls me now, and I can honestly say, "The social club is wonderful, dear. My friends are the best thing that ever happened to me." And I mean it. They are. We still meet every week for tea. For real. We laugh about the old days. We don't talk about point spreads. We talk about our grandchildren. We talk about Iris's garden. We are just a group of old friends. My daughter enrolled me in a senior social club to keep me busy. She succeeded, but not in the way she planned. She gave me a family. She gave me an adventure. She gave me my life back. And the money? Well, let's just say my granddaughter's college fund is very, very healthy, and Chloe still wonders how I can afford that nice annual cruise. I just tell her I'm good with my savings. Some secrets are best kept in the family, and some families are built in the most unexpected places, like a bingo hall on a Thursday afternoon. If this story resonated with you, please don't hesitate to like this video and subscribe to this channel so we can share more with each other. Please leave a comment and let me know where you're watching from.